Since I introduced the first 3 colours of tattoo ink, it's become one of my most used, most important art supplies because this ink dries to a water-resistant finish. So I had to add more colours. I need more colours for myself. So we're going to start with a swatch of Treasure Map. It's that glorious colour that you would find at the edge of a much thumbed, looked at, X marks the spot treasure map, hence the name. And I've got the ink inside one of my ink brushes, which is a type of water brush. If you've seen my mermaid markers, then basically I've just made one of those myself with these inks inside. So here is our next gorgeous colour. This is Plunder, which is a beautiful golden yellow that is fantastic for mixing other colours or just adding a splash of arty sunshine wherever you need it. And although these are primarily pigment-based inks, they're still fine enough to be able to use in mist bottles and fountain pens, including the fountain pen. I'm going to use the extra fine nib, and this has got a cartridge that I can add any fountain pen friendly ink to. I often like to use the fine ink syringe to load my ink cartridges or converters. You can just do it straight from the bottle, but this is cleaner and a little easier to manage. And I've put all of my tattoo inks in the fountain pens or various fountain pens. So here I've got my ink syringe and I'm placing it just straight into the bottle, drawing up the ink. It's got all the little fittings and pieces and elements so that if you've got different cartridges, you can actually fit this ink syringe to different cartridges. And then I just put the pen back together and off I go. I've got a beautiful yellow fountain pen with extremely fine lines. As an ink aficionado and designer, the highest bar that can be set, I feel, for inks is if they are fountain pen friendly, which means they're going to be non-clogging, they're going to be smooth writing, stable performance. And all of these properties just make for a better art ink and a better art experience. You can also add water and move the ink around with a brush, as you've just seen me doing with the round 8 from the Brush Ballet. And here I am using the ink brush with the ink already preloaded in it in this amazing neon bright orange called Gangplank. And we don't just want to walk this gangplank, we want to jump off and do a beautiful swan dive into an ocean of colour. Now, out of habit, I always give my inks a little shake before I open them up. And you can certainly do that with these inks. It's not completely necessary, but it's a good habit to get into. This colour has actual body to it. It is named Shark Bite, as you can see. And isn't it beautiful? I've got a little bit of water in that brush and you can see it behaving just as any other ink would with water, very much like a watercolour ink. Except once it's dry, it's going to stay put. And another wonderful quality of this ink is it actually seems to sit up on top of other art supplies. So if you've got other layers of things, this ink will just sit on top of everything and stay nice and dense and luscious. Just as you can also see it doing that on this watercolor paper. So it's going to sit up on the paper rather than soak into the paper. And because of its formula, it's not really wanting to mix and mingle with whatever is underneath it. Even if there are other tattoo ink colors underneath in other layers, it tends not to reactivate or bring up even things that are really reactive. It's quite an unusual thing, and if you put something else on top of it, it's not going to react and keep on bubbling to the surface either, even though they've got that really high staining power, that pigment, as you can see. Here is, oh, I do love Shark Bite immensely, but Bordello, this beautiful, cool magenta is absolutely one of my favorite colors that I've ever had in any of my ink collections. I use this and use it and use it and use it. Mind you, I say that the neon pink in this, like the tattoo pink, the tattoo kink, of course the black, the mutiny purple, tortilla. Anyway, I shouldn't really bother talking about favourites because whatever I'm using at the time that I'm using it is my favourite. If you've seen my videos, you would hear me say, oh, this is my favourite. They're all my favourite because colour is joy. Colour is joy. It asks the eyes to keep on looking. So this beautiful Bordello pink, I've applied with the dip pen. Actually, I have been using the dip pen so far, and I think I've forgotten to tell you, but of course you can use this with dip pens as well. I'm using it with the water brush. I'm using it with the paintbrush. I'm using it straight from the bottle. You can just splash here and there with it. You can load it into fountain pens, and in the fountain pens you've got a roller ball, 2 different types of fountain pen nib, and a brush nib as well. That's different to the water brush nib. Or, look, you just can't have enough pens or enough inks. They all just do different joyous things. Well, I'm only speaking for myself. Okay, this gorgeous dark green. For some reason, I didn't line the video up properly. I was having too much fun swatching out the colours, and you can't see the gorgeous skull bottle, but it's there. This colour is called Sea Legs, and again, I'm using it in the brush. And in this video, I'm not showing you the misters, but of course you can put this ink in mister bottles as well and spray with it. I'll do that in another video. There's just so much to see already in this one. And where I've got a thicker application, I can dip back in with my brush and spread that out. Keep in mind that once this is dry, you can't be reactivating it and re-wetting it and doing any other thing. That's what makes it layerable. Now we have Tortuga, which is another green, but it goes down into the lime greens, and it's a much warmer green than Sea Legs, which the name just makes me laugh every time I say it. And for a different type of line, glass dip pen is so beautiful. So where I've got a little puddle of the ink, I'm just dipping my pen into that, the glass dip pen. I'm just dipping it into that and drawing, just as I'm going to do with Shanty. This is a beautiful, beautiful, really clear blue. When you add water to it, it washes out into a lovely turquoise, sort of going into that phthalo blue family. And of course, you can mix the colours with each other to open up a whole other realm of rainbow. Just letting Tortuga and Shanty have a little conversation together and pretend that they're watercolours. They can pretend, they can play at that until they dry. Aren't we nice to let our art supplies have some playtime before they have to get to the serious tasks? And our last colour that I'm going to show you today is Mutiny. This purple. Oh my goodness. It's so purple. The camera is struggling a little bit with capturing its purpleness. But as you can see how it almost looks like ultraviolet in the bottle? It's just a photographic thing, a phenomena. So this purple is really a nice neutral. I would say it's a purple's purple because it's not too warm, not too cool, right in the middle, extremely useful. And purple's a magical colour because it's made from a warm red, or the warmest of the warms, and the coolest of the cools, the blue. So it just always has these magic properties, no matter how it's used. I'm using it with water brushes, dip pens, the extra fine fountain tip in the fountain pen. Oh my gosh, that was a tongue twister. You could literally use it with a stick. You could paint with a feather, a leaf. So that is an introduction to the new tattoo inks in their 9 glorious colours. Aren't they gorgeous? I get so much pleasure putting colours together and working out what colours, formulas, all of that. So here again are the beautiful colours, eco-friendly materials and manufacturing, fabulous, fabulous artisans make these inks for us. They're stable, water-based. The deep colours are formed with pigment rather than just dyes. And, I mean, the packaging. The bottle is just so fun and inviting to have on your desk. All of these candy colours in the skull. Our inner workings put out for display for us to enjoy. But they are practical as well. They're stable. They have a secure push and twist cap. And each one holds 30 ml. All 12 of the tattoo inks are available exclusively at janedavenport.com, where we just love sending our art supplies to happy artists all over the world.